What's up, guys? I'm actually doing 3 videos in 3 days. I actually can't believe I managed to do it, but here we are. I'm really excited for this fight card. There's a lot of pretty good fights on it with some decent names. So we're just gonna get right into it. No bullshit intro. We're just gonna get right into the action. The first fight is O'Day Osborne versus Jerome Rivera. It's a decently matched fight. Um, Rivera's fought recently against Figueiredo's brother, where he kind of got laid on and out wrestled in a very uninspiring performance. Since his Dana White Tuesday Night Contender Series fight, he hasn't really fared well in the UFC. I still think he's a decent fighter, and he's moving up to 135 in this fight, which I think might help his performance a little bit. I mean, he's a huge guy for flyweight. He's 5'10". So, I mean, he had to he's skinny and all, but he had to cut some weight to get down to that weight class. Oh, this fight's at featherweight. Holy shit. Wow. So he's moving up 2 weight classes because I'm pretty sure he fought Figueiredo at flyweight. Maybe it was at bantamweight, but I know he's fought at flyweight. See, right here, he's flyweight. And Osborne's a bantamweight. I didn't know it was at featherweight. So he's moving up 2 weight classes. So he definitely cut some weight for flyweight. Like I said, I still think he's a decent fighter. He's okay on the feet, and he has a decent submission game. He has a lot of submissions on his record. O'Day, on the other hand, has a decent amount of hype. He had a decent amount of hype coming into his fight with Kelleher. I saw a lot of people saying how good he was. He also actually said something along the lines of, people won't say I fought on a McGregor card. They'll say McGregor fought on an O'Day Osborne card, and then he proceeded to get tapped out in the first round by Kelleher, which I do think was kind of funny. I do think on the feet that O'Day is more explosive, and he's definitely faster. And even though Rivera is taller, he doesn't really have a reach in this fight like he's used to. It's kind of a hard one to call, but I am going to go with O'Day by decision. I do believe he can catch Rivera. Rivera's been finished before, but I am going to take him by decision. I think it's the safest best bet for me. I just think he's going to be better on the feet, and I don't think Rivera's going to get takedowns. And if he does get takedowns, I don't think he'll be able to control Osborne. He's not, and he might be able to catch him in a submission like Rivera or Kelleher did, but I just think Kelleher's a way better submission artist than Rivera. So I'm going to take O'Day by decision, but I do think it'll be a pretty entertaining fight. All right, the next fight is Timur Vallier versus Martin Day. I do think it's a huge mismatch. I think Vallier is better anywhere the fight goes. That being said, his last fight, it was also about the same. I think he was a lot better than Trevin Jones. He dominated that first round, and he nearly got Trevin out of there. And I'm pretty sure everyone expected him to come in that second round and get the finish. But instead, Trevin tagged him, and he ended up getting the stoppage. I know a lot of people were saying it was an early stoppage, but I'm not too sure about that. And even if it was, he was still dominating, and he got caught. And, I mean, he was hurt, at least. I do like Martin Day. He's an okay striker and all, but I just think he's not on the same level as Timur. He's also on a 3-fight losing streak. He got finished in 2 of the 3 bouts. His job's on the line, so I do expect him to make it somewhat a fight, but I am expecting Timur to get the finish. Maybe it's going to be a similar first round to the Trevin Jones fight where he tags and hurts Day, but instead of him getting finished in the second round, I do think he's going to get Day out of there. Timur's striking is really, really good. I mean, I remember watching him in the World Series of Fighting. I believe that's where he fought, at least, the World Series of Fighting, and he has very good striking. And I'm picking him by second round knockout. I think for sure he gets the finish. But really? Not picking you, Day. I'm sorry. Next fight, Yusuf Salal versus Sising Wu Choi. Love these Asian names. I like this fight a lot. Yusuf Salal might have lost his last fight, but he's still someone to look out for, in my opinion. He's very well-rounded. He can strike well. He has good hands, good kicks. His grappling's no joke either. I know he was kind of somewhat exposed in the Tapora fight with his grappling, but I don't think that it's a huge hole in his game. I still think he's a decent grappler. He also has decent cardio. He can push a pretty high pace on you. And like I said, he lost the fight to Taporia by his grappling, but it wasn't like anything too drastic. He was still in that fight. Choi, on the other hand, is okay. I haven't really been too impressed with him, to be honest, but he has fought some really good fighters. He fought Gavin Tucker and Evilov. Both of them are huge prospects, and now he's fighting another prospect. I do think the only way Choi's going to win is if he can outstrike Yusuf to a decision, but I just see Yusuf being better on the feet, and I think if Yusuf wants to take it to the ground, he can. I want to say Yusuf gets his first finish in the UFC. All his fights have gone to decision, even the loss. So saying that, I am going to pick Zalal by decision. Choi did get finished by Tucker in his last fight, but I believe Tucker's more of a finisher than Yusuf. And Choi does seem to be pretty tough, so I am going to go with Yusuf by decision. But I'm hoping he gets the finish. I really like him, and he's someone to look out for in this division. Next fight, Molly McCann versus Laura Proc. Nope, not saying it. Don't care. Versus Lara. Molly versus Lara. Molly really shit the bed in her last fight. Granted, Talia Santos is no joke, and she did prove that in a fight. I think she was being underrated in that fight. I think Molly's just better everywhere in this fight. She's super tough, and she has pretty decent boxing, and she's always coming forward, which I like. She has a very high pressure game to her. When watching the tape on Lara, I wasn't impressed. I just think she's going to be one step behind the whole fight and probably will lose a decision. She could surprise me, and you never know what's going to happen in these women MMA fights. But I'm very confident that McCann will win and have little trouble doing it. I don't see her getting the finish or anything. She's not a high finisher. But I expect her to win every round, whether it's on the feet or the ground or wherever she wants to take it. I think she can, impose her game on Lara. And I'm definitely picking Meatball. I think she's a decent fighter. And I just wasn't impressed with Lara's tape. Maybe she comes out here and surprises me and wins a decision. And maybe McCann comes out and it's a lackluster fight. But that's the only way I really see her to win. I think McCann's one of my more confident picks. So, she'll probably lose. She'll probably get knocked out, knowing my luck. All right, the next fight's also a women's MMA fight. I'm actually interested in this one a lot. Edwards really impressed me in her last fight. She proved she was super well-rounded. I like her stand-up game. She throws nice straight punches, very accurate kicks, very pretty kicks too, I may add. She also took the fight on short notice, and she never slowed down at all in the fight, which, you love to see. She's very good on the ground too. She showed good control when she was on top, and she reversed. She got a lot of reversals too. Rosa, on the other hand, isn't as impressive, but I don't think she's a bad fighter or anything. She has a good record. I can see her making it a pretty interesting fight. But I'm going to make it short and sweet. I am going to pick Edwards by decision. I'm really excited to see what she can do after her debut. I think she's going to be even better this time. She might get a finish, but I think Rosa's pretty decent on her own right. And I'm going to pick Edwards by decision. Really looking forward to see what she does this time. And I'm happy she's getting a fight very quickly after she fought, a few weeks ago. So, yeah, definitely picking Edwards by decision. But I think it'll be an interesting fight. I think it'll be a good fight. Next fight, Justin James versus Devontae Smith. What a fight, honestly. I expect a war in this one for as long as it lasts. They're both heavy hitters who like to strike, and they like to get fights out of there early. Justin James is on a 2-fight losing streak after his amazing debut against Frank Camacho. He got finished in both the fights, but he was fighting good opponents, so I don't hold that too much against him. Jesus, I can't talk today, guys. I'm sorry. Smith had a lot of hype going into his last fight against Kama Worthy, where he just got caught in that fight. Kama Worthy is a good striker, though. It hits hard, so I don't hold that against him either. I honestly think either way this fight goes, it's going to be an early knockout. Both of them swing with bad intentions, and someone's going to get caught and hurt early. I do believe Smith has the better stand-up. He seems to be faster and way more explosive than James on the feet. He might even hit a little bit harder, even though they both hit like trucks. That's their game, is they both get knockouts. As much as I like James, and I am sort of rooting for the guy because he seems like a decent guy, and I'm saying a decent in every fucking breakdown, decent, but he does seem like a nice guy, and if he loses, he probably is out of the UFC, so, I hope he wins, but I am going to pick Smith by first round knockout, but I wouldn't be surprised if James hurts him and he gets him out of there early. I think either way, it's going to be a quick knockout, But I am going to go with the guy who I believe has better striking and hits harder, and that's Devontae Smith. All right, next fight, Mike Rodriguez versus Danilo Marquez. I like this fight. I think it's pretty interesting. Rodriguez fights are usually entertaining. His last fight against Herman was very entertaining. He definitely should have won the fight. He basically finished Herman, and then the fight wasn't stopped. It was very weird. And then Herman got submitted, or Herman submitted him, rather. And a lot of people were saying that it should have been stopped, and I agree with that. I think Mike Rodriguez definitely should have won that fight. Danilo, on the other hand, fought a Russian guy that was on a 3-fight losing streak in a fight where I thought he was easily going to get the finish. It didn't happen that way, and even though I think he's a good enough fighter to win this fight, I'm gonna pick Rodriguez. I just think he's way more dangerous than Marquez, and he has way more tools on the feet. I mean, he has knees, elbows, very good straight punches, good kicks. Marquez will sure have an advantage on the ground if it goes there, but I just think you'll have a hard time getting it there. And on the feet, I mean, Rodriguez has a lot of skills, and I think he's just going to catch him with something big eventually. I think it'll be a decent first round. Marquez might even take him down once or twice. But I'm going to go with Rodriguez by second round knockout. I think he catches him with probably catches him with a knee or elbow, straight punch, something like that, and gets him out of there. But definitely an interesting fight, and I think it'll be a very entertaining fight. And I think there will be a finish either way. I think if Rodriguez doesn't get the knockout, then Marquez will probably submit him. But definitely going to pick Rodriguez by knockout. He's very. I will say one thing about Rodriguez: he seems to win, lose, win, lose. So I mean, technically, he lost his last fight. It says so. He's going to get the win. Technically, as his record shows. All right, this next fight's very interesting. It's actually a rematch from a fight that happened in 2015. Beneil won the first fight by decision, but you can't really go back. I definitely went back and watched the fight, but you can't really use that fight to determine what's going to happen in this fight because they're totally different fighters. They're both on really good win streaks, and they both fought very good fighters recently. Fiera actually submitted Anthony Pettis' last fight, which is a big win for him. Beneil's on a 2-fight knockout streak where he knocked out Scott Holzman and Jakar Close. They're both really good ground fighters that have improving stand-up. On the ground, I don't really know who's better. I would maybe lean toward Fiera, but I mean, Dariush is very good on the ground. I maybe would only lean towards Fiera because Beneil's been submitted before. But I don't see this fight really being a ground fight. I think it's going to be a stand-up fight. And I think Beneil's a little better on the feet. I think he has a little tighter punches. He definitely hits harder. Fiera was knocked out by Dustin Poirier, but, Dustin Poirier knocks out a lot of people. It's a very interesting fight. I think it's going to go very similar to the first fight, actually, but I am going to pick Beneil by decision. I could see him maybe knocking out Fiera, but I think Fiera's gotten way better on the feet since that first fight. And yeah, Beneil's got 2 knockouts in a row, but I don't see him knocking out Fiera. But it's possible. I think Beneil's just going to be a little better on the feet, and I don't foresee him really going on the ground that much. I mean, they could, but I just don't see it. So yeah, my pick's definitely going to be Beneil by decision. But I think it's a very interesting fight, a very good fight. I think it'll be entertaining. And the winner will definitely get a big name in the lightweight division next. Because, I mean, they're both on very good win streaks. But I'm going to stick with my boy Dariush. I mean, he's looked very good recently. Next fight, Cody Stamann versus Askar. What a name, Askar. Definitely got bullied. I'm pretty sure he took the fight on short notice. Cody Stamann was supposed to fight someone else. Cody Stamann's a very solid fighter. He's not really much of a finisher, but he has good stand-up. He's a good wrestler. And I watched tape on this Askar guy, and he's okay. I don't think he's anything special. And when you go to his record, he hasn't really fought anybody notable at all with a very good record. His one loss is to a guy who's 7-2, and he did get knocked out. I think he's just, he's taking the fight on short notice, which I respect. I mean, that's good for him. I mean, he's going to be in the UFC even if he loses. So, when you have a chance to take one of these fights, you take it. but I think he's in over his head against Cody Stamann. I think Cody can win this fight anywhere. I think Cody can even get the finish, even though he's not really known for getting the finish. But I'm going to pick him by decision, just because I just think he's going to do what he does on the feet, maybe get a few takedowns, control Askar. He could definitely get a finish, but he's not known for that. He doesn't have to be known for that. He's still an entertaining fighter, in my opinion. I mean, he has good stand-up. And on the ground, he's no joke either. I am going to pick him by decision, though. But I wouldn't be surprised if he gets the finish. We don't really know much about this Askar. I mean, I watched a few of his fights, but we don't know much about him. He has a decent record at 11-1, but again, he just hasn't fought anybody. You go to look at his record, and I mean, a lot of the fighters have losing records or not very good records. So I just think it's going to be hard for him to come in here and fight a good guy, good solid guy in the featherweight division and win. But you never know what's going to happen. I like these type of fights where they come in short notice and you don't know much about them, and then you put him against a good guy, and he's going right into the fire, and we'll see what happens. But I am going to stick with Stamann. I think he's the heaviest favorite on this card, probably at -500, and you got to agree with that. Next fight, very good fight right here. Very, very, very good fight. I think this could be fight of the night. We have Alexander Pantoja versus Manel Kape. Pantoja's very good. Very good. He has okay striking, but his ground game's what he's known for. But he's fought a lot of really good fighters, and he's lost 5 times, but he's never been finished. Very good cardio. Manel, on the other hand, is a finisher. He's either kill or be killed. He either finishes you or he gets finished, and I think that could cause him problems in this fight. Because, like I said, in all 5 of his Pantoja's losses, he hasn't been finished. It's hard. I've been going back and forth on this fight. I really like the tape on Manel. He's very athletic, very explosive. He hits hard. He has very good wins, and even his losses aren't. I mean, he hasn't lost to anybody really bad. I mean, he lost to Horiguchi, who's a great flyweight. He fought Demetrius in the UFC, and his last 3 wins against very good opponents that he got the finish against, and it's hard. It's just hard for me to see him getting the finish against Pantoja because, I mean, Pantoja fought Davison Figueiredo, and he didn't even get knocked out in that fight. I just don't know if Manel's cardio is going to hold up against Pantoja. Manel is a former Ryzen champion, but again, he gets a lot of his fights out of there early. It's a hard fight for me to pick, and I at first I was really on Manel, thinking I'm pretty sure he was going to win. But the more and more I watch tape, I'm going to pick Pantoja by decision and maybe even a finish. And you know what? I'm going to pick 3rd round submission. No, I'm going to pick decision. I'm going to pick decision. It's a safe pick. Manel, like I said, he is kill or be killed. But I think Pantoja is going to grapple him and get him tired. I think maybe he needs to survive that 1st round. I think he might even get hurt. But he's very tough, has a very good chin. And his striking's not bad either. I mean, he has decent striking for a grappler. And I can see him weathering the storm, getting Manel tired, and then winning the decision. And maybe he does get a late submission. I think that'll be available if he wants it, but I'm going to pick him by decision. And, if Manel comes out there and wins in the 1st round, I'm going to look stupid because that's what I was going to pick was 1st round knockout. But more and more I watch tape, I just don't see him hurting Pantoja enough to where he gets that finish. But it'd be cool to see him come in here and get the knockout. But I'm going to pick Pantoja by decision. Maybe a late submission. All right, the next fight, man. This is the hardest fight for me to call. I think Michael Johnson is better. Obviously, he's a better striker. But Michael Johnson has a habit of winning fights until he's not winning, and then he loses. I mean, if you go to his record, I'm going to go to his record right now on my phone. I believe there's like 6 fights that he's winning, and then he loses. And it's just hard to pick him. I mean, he has a lot of great wins on his record. Let's see. So his last fight against Moises, he was winning that 1st round, looked very good. Maybe even the best ever he's ever looked, in the 1st round. And then he got submitted in the 2nd round very early. He fought Stevie Ray, who he's way better than Stevie Ray, way better. And he was looking very good in that fight, and then he shit the bed. Josh Emmett, he was dominating Josh Emmett the whole fight until the last minute. He got knocked out. He beat Artem Lobov, wow. And he beat the GOAT. And that's a great win on his record. Beat Andre Fili, but I thought Fili won that fight in my opinion. I scored it for Fili, but I mean it was a decent fight. He was beating up Darren Elkins in the first round, and then got submitted. Justin Gaethje, he caught Justin Gaethje 3 times, hurt him, and then got finished. He has a win over Dustin Poirier, Edson Barboza, Melvin Gillard, Tony Ferguson. I mean, when he's on, he can beat anybody, but you just can't trust him. I can see this going a lot like his other fights. He wins the first round, and then Guido catches him in a submission, or maybe even finishes him on the feet. I know Guido hasn't looked great recently, and he's definitely past his prime. I really want to pick Michael Johnson, man, but I'm gonna pick Guida by a second round finish. Definitely wouldn't be surprised if Michael wins the fight. Maybe finishes Guida. Guida's very hard to finish though. Very good chin. I could see him tagging Guida up the first 2 rounds and maybe getting submitted in the second, third round. I don't know. It's a really hard fight to call. Probably one of the hardest fights to call. But I just can't trust Michael Johnson, man. I want to. He's really good. He's really good. He could be an elite lightweight if he just. I just feel like it's a mental thing with him, man. I don't know. I'm gonna pick Clay Guida by second round submission in a fight where Michael Johnson looks really, really good, and then until he doesn't, and Guida catches him. Guida's really tough, and I can see him just, outweathering Michael Johnson, getting him tired, and getting the finish. I don't know. Hard fight to call. It definitely could go either way. I hope Michael Johnson wins because, like I said, he could be an elite lightweight if he just stayed focused in there. I don't know if it's if he doesn't stay focused or it's a mental thing or what. But I mean, there's too many times where he's winning a fight and then loses. So I just can't trust him. I've picked him too many times and then been disappointed. So I'm gonna pick Guida, and if Michael Johnson wins, oh well. I think it's a good pick. Oh, this fight right here, man. Corey Sandhagen versus Frankie Edgar. Good fight. Both these fighters are one of my favorite fighters. I like both these guys. Sandhagen, tall, rangy for the division. Good striking, good kicks, good punching, very good footwork. I think the problem with this fight for him is Frankie Edgar's, wrestling and pressure. We did see him get taken out early by Aljamain Sterling and submitted. I just think maybe his grappling's not as good as his striking. It's definitely not as good as his striking, but I think it's a big weakness. And fighting Frankie Edgar, Frankie Edgar's old. Sure, he might not be what he used to be, but go watch his last fight against Munoz, who's a good fighter, and he looked great. He looked good at bantamweight. And just looking at him at the weigh-in, he looks very fit, very good. I mean, he's not coming in out of shape. It's Frankie Edgar. Frankie Edgar's a legend. He also has very good footwork. I don't think that Sandhagen's going to have better footwork or anything. And even on the feet, I think Frankie can, box with him. Frankie has good boxing. I think Frankie's going to be able to control him. It's only a 3-round fight. Sure, I think Sandhagen can catch him, but Frankie's still tough, man. He's been finished a few times by, Brian Ortega, Korean Zombie. I mean, these are good fighters he's getting finished by. And yeah, Corey Sandhagen is a good fighter, but he doesn't have the power like those other 2 guys. I mean, this is bantamweight. This isn't featherweight. I think Frankie's going to be able to take him down, control him, beat him up a little bit. I don't think he's going to finish Sandhagen, but I'm picking Frankie by decision. I know it's kind of an upset pick. I have seen a lot of people picking Frankie, but I think the majority think he's washed up, and I don't believe he's washed up at all. I still think he can fight for the title. I don't think he's going to beat Peter Yan or anything, but I still think he can fight for the title. I think he's still competitive in these fights. Maybe Sandhagen gets him out early, but if he doesn't, man, Frankie's going to be in there in his face. Good boxing, good movement. Frankie's not going to kill you with his power or anything, but I just think that weakness, man. I think Corey Sandhagen has a little bit of a weakness on the ground, and I think Frankie will be the guy to, expose him a little bit. I mean, we saw Sterling do it, who's a very good grappler in his own right, but I think Frankie can do that too. Control him, get on top of him, hurt him with the ground and pound. And I think he can eke out a decision. I think Sandhagen will be better on the feet. He will test him on the feet. But I just think Frankie's wrestling will win him this fight. And then we'll probably have to see Frankie in a title fight. I mean, right? I think whoever wins this fight will be the next title challenger in bantamweight. But yeah, it's going to be a good fight. Very interesting fight, at least. But I am going to go with Frankie. I know it's an upset. But, a lot of people are picking Sandhagen by knockout, it seems. But I think Frankie's going to get the decision. Now the main event. very interesting fight for heavyweight. Alistair Overeem has won his last few fights. He has that loss against Rosenstrike, which where he was winning that fight and he just got caught at the end. But he's on a very good streak. Should be 5 in a row if it wasn't for that Rosenstruck fight. And they both beat Walt Harris recently. I don't know, man. I foresee this fight being very boring. Maybe the first 2 rounds, as Overeem isn't as active as he was back in the day. He takes his time, which is I like that about him. I think it makes him a better fighter instead of lunching in punches. Volkov might give him some problems just because he's very tall, good reach. I mean, he only has a 1-inch reach advantage, but he is 3 inches taller, and he's good at using his reach. He's good. He has got a good jab, good front kicks. I just think he's slower than Overeem. I think even if Overeem wants, he can take him down. I don't think Volkov's wrestling is very good. I mean, we saw that in the Curtis Blade fights. He would have beat Curtis Blades if he could have just stopped the takedown. He did get knocked out by Derek Lewis, but he was winning that fight. I think it's a very interesting fight. I can't wait. Volkov's the favorite? What? Wow. Okay. I don't know what to say. He's the moderate favorite. I mean, that's crazy. Is that wrong? That's got to be wrong, right? Wow. I don't know why he's the favorite because I think Overeem's better on the feet and he's a veteran and I don't know. Like I said, I think this fight will be very slow paced the first maybe 2-3 rounds and then kind of like a typical Overeem fight. He's going to pick it up. He's going to catch him with something, maybe take him down. I think he's going to get the finish, maybe 3rd round knockout. Maybe by ground and pound. Maybe he catches him with like a overhand right or something. I do think Volkov's a very good fighter for the division, but Overeem this is his last chance to really get it, in the title picture. I don't think he's ever going to be the champion. I think it'd be cool if he won the title, but I just think that the 3 fighters ahead of him, he's number 4. I think the 3 fighters ahead of him are just a little better, and he's lost to all 3 of those fighters. I mean, he lost to Stipe, he lost to Curtis Blades, he lost to Francis Ngannou, got finished by all of them. But he definitely deserves to at least get one more title shot, and I think he will end up getting it eventually if he wins this fight. Maybe even he fights John Jones. I think John Jones is moving up. I think Overeem's a guy that has not star power, but name recognition that they can put him in there against John Jones. I can't believe that Volkov's the favorite. That broke me a little bit. I'd bet my money on Overeem, man. I'm going to pick Overeem 3rd round knockout. And I'm not sure if it would be the most exciting fight at first, but I do expect it to pick up, as a lot of the heavyweight fights are. They both have good cardio for heavyweights, though, so I don't expect like a sloppy heavyweight fight. I think they're both good strikers. But yeah, I am going to pick Overeem, though. I think he's got more in the tank for being a 40-year-old, I think, and he's almost 41. I am going to pick him. A lot of people agree with me, at least. Can't believe he's the favorite, man. Holy shit. All right, man. I'm gonna go before I'll keep going at that. Appreciate if you took the time to watch this whole video. Leave a like if you agree with what I'm saying. Comment who you think's gonna win the main event and the co-main. Or also comment below if you disagree with any of my picks and tell me why. And yeah, can't believe he's the favorite.